If you don't take care of your land, if you screw it up, the odds are it's going to kill you. We have this notion that we're not part of ecosystems and land. That thinking is a dangerous, dangerous thinking. The land always wins. The effects of climate change right now are really starting to bring it home. We are actually part of this and we're controlled by it. We have a very deeply rooted timber bias in British Columbia. It's like part of our culture, part of our DNA. We've heard from British Columbia that they want their forests to be integral. They want them to be natural. But the way we manage now is we manage for resources. We are trying to ground our decision-making and planning in the political system. And so we're managing thousands of year-old ecosystems on a 4-year election cycle. That just doesn't make any sense at all. So we go and try and cut some trees, and we try to think about wildlife and all these other things and try to make constraints. But managing for ecosystem health means that you take care of the ecosystems, keep them healthy, and they take care of everything else. So we don't own the land, it owns us.
Forest isn't just a place to grow 2x4s, it's also a place to grow wildlife and to support other people's livelihoods. We're losing our diverse forests and we're being given these pine plantations, which are basically dead zones. We fly over the whole cut block and then we spray it with a weed killer, kill off all the deciduous tree species, and that's not the way to do forestry. We really need to go beyond that, and we need to look at the other class of trees that can help protect our forests from forest fire, that can support all the wildlife, and support other industries. We need to start looking at our deciduous species as the lifeblood of our forests.
Wildlife and fisheries are extremely important to the Tahltan Nation. Guide outfitting in British Columbia actually started in Tahltan territory, and it's a huge part of our culture. We have a deep history as guide outfitters, both as owners, operators. We continue to have guide outfitting owners today. Some of our best cultural teachers today received most of those teachings while they're out on the land working as guides and operating guide outfitting areas. If we don't have healthy wildlife and fisheries and ensure that our people can continue practicing their culture, then we're no longer Tahltan.
I am a First Nations chief. I've been involved with every aspect of First Nations issues since 1976. The way of life of First Nations people has changed. The lack of wildlife, the lack of fish, those things have transpired in my lifetime. This past year, we got involved with our young hunters. We have our CMP involved, we have the ministry involved, and as well guide outfitters. We also got involved with training some of our youth to become trappers, to manage predators. And I go around the province speaking to non-Native community members, getting buy-in to the reality that we got to work together to preserve wildlife into the future. Collectively, if we don't do it, we're all going to suffer the consequences. To do the proper thing is a way of life for our people.
I was born and raised in Vancouver, and I ended up in the most rural, remote place that I've ever been. And I didn't think I'd stay here, but I fell in love with the outdoors and everything that it had to offer. And now I like to fish and hunt. I want people to know that it's regular people like me who live out here and hunt and fish. We don't look like Elmer Fudd. We don't salivate every time we pick up a gun. We just respectfully take game for our families. There's no hormones or antibiotics. It's good, lean meat, and I know exactly where it came from. We have our garden and our fruits and vegetables, and every day we put something fresh on the table from the ocean or from the woods. So I feel it's actually a quite positive lifestyle.
I got into wildlife biology because of how I grew up. My dad took me out hunting and fishing when we were kids, and I got into it because I wanted to make a difference. We're facing some pretty challenging management questions right now. Things are very complicated, not based on science, mostly on emotion. One of the tools that we're not really taking advantage of is using local knowledge from people that are on the land, seeing what's happening year after year. So that means resident hunters, guide outfitters, First Nations, local community members, naturalists, they all need to start working together for the same objective, maintaining and enhancing our wildlife populations. The best way to move forward is to work together.